Can't believe they're still going after this guy. Hello, welcome back to Analyst Digest. I am back after how many days off? I don't know. Probably about a week or two. Who knows? Boris Johnson resigns as MP over Partygate report. He warned that the kangaroo court investigating him over Partygate is determined to find him guilty. To be honest, I haven't been paying any attention to Boris. I thought he was gone. They keep mentioning him every now and again. They were trying to scare people by saying they were going to bring him back into the Tory leadership role. But no, they keep dragging his name through, probably because it gets clicks. I'm surprised they're even still investigating him. I think people just generally just don't care anymore. We've moved on to our how many prime ministers have we on since him now? Like 3. Boris Johnson resigned as MP, warning that kangaroo court investigating him. I've already said that. Why are they repeating this thing again? They always do this to me. The former Prime Minister announced he is standing down in his Uxbridge and South Ruislip constituency. Of course he'd be there, wherever. I've never heard of this place, and I've now lost my place. Ahead of his Privileges Committee report into whether he misled Parliament. Was this about the parties where he had a piece of cake or something, wasn't it? In an angry statement, he accused the cross-party group of MPs of being biased. Said he was bewildered and appalled. I was trying to force him out of the Parliament. Yeah, I don't know why they're still going after this guy. I mean, I think there's a lot worse things you could go after this guy for. Like, for example, locking down the country, or stopping the Ukraine war from ending in peace, and encouraging war strongly. Him and a few other guys, some guy from the US, they went over to stop the peace deal that was coming together between Ukraine and Russia. I'd like to investigate him for that, not for whether or not he had a gathering when he wasn't allowed to. Personally, I don't care. I really don't care about that. Where are we at then? Sorry. The committee wrote a warning letter to Mr. Johnson earlier this week, outlining how it intended to criticise him in its final report. It all sounds scary. It has been investigating whether he misled Parliament when he told MPs that there had been no lockdown parties in Downing Street. Are we still going on about this? Bloody hell, the former Prime Minister said the committee had still not produced a shred of evidence that he knowingly or recklessly did so. Is that what the thing, you have to knowingly or recklessly break the rules? You can't just break the rules. Well, no, you can break the rules, but if you do it knowingly or recklessly, then that's even worse. I don't think that's how the law's supposed to work. What is it they say? Not knowing a crime doesn't absolve you of it, or something along those lines. I'm probably going to get killed for that. Of the actual phrase. Give me a break, it's been a week off. But much to my amazement, they are determined to use the proceedings to drive me out of Parliament. Mrs. Johnson had a pot shot at Harriet Harman, the Labour MP who had been chairing the investigation, saying she's overseeing egregious bias against him. Oh yeah, this is the person who was I believe who was a Conservative, and then right as this dropped switch to become into Labour, and now is in charge of the thing against him. So it seems a bit dodgy, doesn't it? Just a switch, right? Just at this time, I'm not going to care too much because I don't care too much, and it's Boris. So what do you expect? Like, I'm not his biggest fan. Should have been recuse themselves, of course, to suit the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats, and SNP to do whatever they can to remove me from Parliament. Does it suit them anymore? It's not as if he's like the Prime Minister, or like what others trying to do to Trump. Is that the aim that he's going for here? His resignation will trigger a second tricky by-election for Mr. Sunak after his close ally Nadine Dorries also quit the Commons earlier on Friday. Did she? Didn't notice. In a lengthy resignation statement, the Tories have a majority of over 7,000 in the seat, which will now be a key target for Labour, which came second in 2019. In a lengthy resignation statement, Mr. Johnson said, "I did not lie, and I believe that in their heart, the committee know it. I think in all of our hearts, we just generally don't care. But they have willfully chosen to ignore the truth because at the outset, their purpose not been to discover the truth, genuinely to understand what was in my mind when I spoke." This is really boring me. But it's just funny, wasn't it, how like the whole world was locked down and the COVID lockdowns, and then it emerges and there's just Boris there with like a piece of cake and a pint and a couple of people, and this woman going, "Yeah, it was just cheese and wine," and then suddenly England opens up, France opens up, Spain opens up. They're like, "Oh, he's blown it, they've blown it, they've blown our cover," and then all of these countries just suddenly opened up. So you can't just hate Boris 100% because he did end the lockdowns, whether or not he wanted to. Though he's on record in a lot of the text messages saying that he thinks it's all bogus and he doesn't know why this is all even happening. If so, then he should have put a stop to it, being the Prime Minister. So say, their purpose from the beginning is to find me guilty regardless of the facts. It's the very definition of a kangaroo court. Mr Johnson also took a parting shot at Rishi Sunak, berating his successor for abandoning many of the pledges he made whilst in Downing Street and warning the oh really, that's a bit rich, and warning the Tories risk sleepwalking to a heavy defeat in the next election. Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking. Bloody hell. More like charging. Sorry, that's not funny. I couldn't think of anything. Give me a break. Ms Johnson added calls for the Prime Minister to reserve his economic policies and introduce tax cuts swiftly. I agree. Tax cuts. Give me the tax cuts. Where are these tax cuts? Tax cuts. Liz Truss promised tax cuts. Oh, yes. So this is what happens. I believe Theresa May was the same. Really based before they get in. Really based after. During, just going along with everything that the, how do I say it? The deep state, the people behind in the shadows, the pushing along the agenda. Yeah, they're all for that when they're in office. Before and after, they're basically agree with us. Anyway, we need to cut businesses and personal taxes. I agree. Just cut it all. Just scrap the tax. Not just the pre-election gimmicks, rather than endlessly putting them up. We must not be afraid to be a proper Conservative government. And it just sort of goes on, but I think we're going to end it there because it's been however many minutes, and there's just a picture of Boris waving flags again by the famous, infamous photo. But yeah, so if you like that, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out the Rumble channel. We will be uploading there again shortly. So, cheers.